Linda Slaten was a single mother of two who just recently got divorced, and she moved to Lakeland, Florida to get a fresh start. It was hard for Linda to raise her two sons, Jeffrey 15 and Timothy 12, on her own. She was on a tight budget and she received state assistance. Linda was known to be a loving and attentive mother to her two boys, and she also had a really close relationship with her sister. Every Friday morning they would have coffee together. Linda didn't have a car at this time, so the two boys, they often, rode their bikes to get place to place. And Timothy's coach would offer them rides back and forth to football practice. On Friday morning, on September 4th, 1981, Linda's sisters came over to have coffee like she normally does. She knocked on the door and no one answered. That's when Judy made her way around Linda's apartment to the side of the apartment, and that's when she noticed that her sister's screen window has been removed. That's when Judy looked into the window, and that's when she seen her sister's body laid across the bed with her clothes all lifted up and pulled down, and she had a wire hanger around her neck. A maintenance man noticed Linda's sister Judy just crying uncontrollably, and that's when he called 911. When the police arrived, the front door is locked, so they couldn't enter that way, so they entered Linda's apartment through Linda's bedroom window. When they entered Linda's bedroom, they seen Linda's body laying on the bed, and her front of her dress was pulled down and the hem of her dress was pulled up, leaving her fully exposed. And they noticed blood located down in her private area. The police searched the rest of the house, and that's when they found the two boys upstairs sleeping in their bedroom. They escorted the boys out of the apartment, but not before Timothy looked into his mother's bedroom and seen her laying on her bed with the hanger on her neck. He said till this day that image is burned into his brain. The medical examiner determined that Linda was brutally raped and the cause of death was manual strangulation. DNA evidence was collected from Linda's body, and a palm print was found on Linda's windowsill in her bedroom. They ran all the findings through the national database, and no matches was found. The police interviewed anybody that knew Linda or even came in contact with Linda. They took DNA samples from her co-workers, her family, even from her ex-husband. No matches was discovered, and the case went cold. Since 1981, DNA technology made a remarkable advancement. They used genetic genealogy to catch Linda's killer in 2008. They found a match to a DNA profile they developed, and they traced it back to Joseph Clinton, Timothy's football coach. The police obtained Joseph's trash can on the side of the curb, and they, dug through it, and they found medical tape that had DNA on it. So they matched the DNA, they compared the DNA they found on the medical tape to the DNA that they developed with the genetic genealogy profile, and it matched Joseph. It matched Joseph, not Timothy. Joseph was arrested December 12, 2018, and was charged with first-degree burglary and sexual battery. When they interviewed Joseph at first, he said he didn't know, had no idea about the murder. He was nowhere around. But then he finally changed his story and said that Linda invited him over that night for consensual rough sex. And when he got there, Linda already had the wire hanger around her neck. They proved that to be false with all the evidence that they've collected. This is what the detectives believe happened. So Joseph dropped off Timothy from football practice, and Linda and the boys left the house for that evening. That's when Joseph came back, and he got into the house through Linda's bedroom window. That's why he hid in the closet and waited for them to return home. So when Linda and her two boys returned home, the boys went upstairs, to go to bed, and Linda stayed up a little while longer tidying up the house. Then that's when she entered her bedroom. That's when Joseph came out of the closet. That's where they believed that he got the wire hanger, and he attacked her. He brutalized her, and then he strangled her to death. And the sick part about it, after Linda's death, Joseph continued to take the boys back and forth to football practice. Every day he would ask them if there was any developing information or evidence in the case. And of course they didn't have any, because they didn't have very much evidence. The case went cold. On February 9th, 2022, Joseph Mills, 61 at the time, pleaded guilty to rape and murder and received 4 life sentences. One detail in this case that makes me sick to my stomach is that throughout the years, Timothy had a picture of his football team hung on his wall. And he had the killer of his mom hung on his wall all those years. And he said he looked at that picture and it gave him comfort, because football was, a way for him to escape. And not knowing all these years, he had a picture of his mom's murderer hanging on his wall.